Hi, college and career success. Welcome to our last week of our summer semester. It's so hard to believe that it's here. We're in our last week. We made it. Awesome job. Summer classes are always a little bit more challenging, only because it can be a little bit more difficult to be motivated and kind of keep going in the summer terms. So honestly, I'm proud of all of you for sticking with it and ending the course strong. So if I'm going to go ahead and scroll down, we're in week 8 right now. So you can see week 8 is opening on a Friday. So July 17th through July 24th. So depending on when you're watching this, you could be watching this still when week 7 is going on. So in here, you will have, we're going to be in chapter 11 and chapter 12. So the lecture videos are there. And then you'll have a breakout of the chapter 11 assignments and the chapter 12 assignments. So very similar to what we've done in the past. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to give you a preview of this, and I'm going to talk to you about a couple other little quick things. So week 8, again, it opens on a Friday. It closes on a Friday. So the 17th through the 24th. Here's a snapshot. It's going to look pretty much like almost every other week we've had together. You have 2 discussion forums by Wednesday for weekly attendance, and then responded to classmates by Friday. That's the big difference here. Then you'll have your chapter 11 assignment, chapter 11 quiz, chapter 12 assignment, chapter 12 quiz. So those are all due on Friday. So again, I'm just emphasizing that our course ends on a Friday. That allows me time to get the grades completed over the weekend and entered by Monday when grades start becoming due. So that is like a real quick snapshot, but I do also want to let you know that you've had the opportunity to make up work from weeks 1 and 2. So this week you can already see it is scheduled to open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Monday through Wednesday of week 8, you will be able to access week 3. So this was the week that had like the 30-point career services assignment in it. If you missed points or didn't do it at all, you can go back in there and make that up. So if you wanted to have the possibility to go in, I'll change that real quick, but you can see all the others are ready to go for that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of week 8, if you need to go back into anything from week 3. Okay. And then, of course, if you are watching this early, because the week did open early, please make sure that you have all of week 7 done first before you jump into week 8. So that all being said, let's go ahead and hop in now. And this is just going to focus on the chapter 11 assignments. So the chapter 11 discussion, the chapter 11 assignment, and the chapter 11 quiz. So let's look at our discussion prompt, shall we? Chapter 11 discussion. Here is the prompt. Are your eating and sleeping habits currently affecting your ability to have a super successful college experience? Describe the health and wellness changes the commitment to clean eating and sleeping will bring about and how you will benefit in the short and long term. So basically, you're just talking about, because chapter 11 is talking about like healthy habits, mentally, physically, emotionally, all those different things. And so this is going to hone in specifically on like eating and sleeping habits. So talk about, maybe spend the first half, because we need about 150 words. So the first half could be talking about just your habits in general. What do your habits look like when it comes to eating and sleeping? Are you getting enough sleep? Not enough? Are you eating healthy? Are you kind of lacking in that area? And then how is that impacting your college experience? Is it making you too tired to do coursework? Are you drained? Do you not have the energy? Or are you doing really well and it's kind of fueling you forward? And then describe the health and wellness change a commitment to eating, cleaning, sleeping well will bring about and how that could be beneficial in both the short and long term. So if you could make changes to either your your eating or sleeping habits to make them more clean or well rested, or both or one or the other, how would that benefit you both now and then, several months and then long term? So really you're just kind of reflecting on those habits. And if you want to throw in any other kind of habits that the chapter talks about, like exercise or things like that, feel free to do so, because all of that sometimes gets neglected when we are going to college. We kind of forget to take care of ourselves in these areas. And so you can kind of bundle that in as well. So make sure you post your original response to that by Wednesday and respond to 2 classmates by Friday. And then keep in mind that chapter 12 will also be due, same thing, by Wednesday, and then respond to 2 classmates by Friday. All right, your chapter 11 assignment. This is due Friday. This is called Make or Break a Habit. It's going to open up into a Word doc. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. And here it is. So the first thing you're going to do is you're kind of imagining that you are going to have 4 weeks worth of making and breaking habits. So you want to try to come up with like every week. And again, this is all obviously hypothetical because the class is done. I'm not going to check in on you in 4 weeks to see how it went. So you're kind of just like thinking ahead. So what could you do a healthy habit to make in week 1, 2, 3, 4? What unhealthy habits can you break in those weeks? Now they can go together. For instance, maybe your healthy habit to make is drink more water and your unhealthy habit to break is drink less pop. So they can pair together like that, or they can be completely unrelated. So drink more water, go to sleep earlier. You know what I mean? So like they can be connected or they can be completely unrelated, whatever is kind of easiest for you. But think of these things, that these habits that you might have, and try to focus on those things that the textbook talks about, like our emotional, our physical, our, mental, all of those things that kind of wrap into our college experience because they all impact one another. So something healthy you can start doing, something unhealthy you should try to stop doing. And then answer these questions. So what reminders will you use to make or break your habits? Will you have Post-it notes? Will you have an accountability partner? Will you have like reminders or calendars? If you forget about the habit, what do you plan to do? Just start over, forget about it completely? Like what are you trying to figure out with, if you forget to kind of continue with your habit making or breaking? How would you feel if you're able to make or break these habits for good? How would your life be different? Like if you were all of a sudden able to get a solid, 8 hours of sleep a night, how would that help you? How would that change things for you in the big scheme of things? How would you feel if you're not able to make or break these habits? Would you be disappointed? Would you give yourself some grace? And then what obstacles might prevent you from making or breaking these habits, like your schedule, your motivation? So that is the chapter 11, make or break a habit assignment. So you'll fill out that table and then submit it in the Dropbox. And then finally, your chapter 11 quiz. So again, you want to make sure that you're responding to all questions in complete sentences, 2 to 5 sentences total. So question 1, if you are creating an informational flyer about sleep, what should you include? Like how important sleep is? What kind of things would you put on that flyer? 2, do you have a stress relief routine? So like what things work for you that you do or that you've tried? And then based on what you learned in this chapter, what's something new you might like to try to help relieve some stress? Question 3, what mental health disorder do you think is the most common among college students? And then give an example based on the textbook and personal experience. You're kind of merging those together. What does the textbook say? What does your experience say? And kind of mesh that together. Question 4, what are the 3 types of exercise mentioned in this chapter and what are the benefits of each? I do want to point out, because I've had some students come up with some weird examples in here. So if you go into our textbook, chapter 11, section 11.1, you'll have to scroll, like here's the top, you'll have to scroll quite a bit, but eventually you'll get down here to exercise. And boop, there it is. I'm kind of helping you along there, but you'll go ahead and talk about those 3 types and then the benefits of each. And then finally, how can you recognize when someone is using drugs or alcohol, and what can you do if it's becoming problematic? So go ahead and make sure you submit that as well. So real quick recap just for chapter 11, because you are also in chapter 12 this week. You want to make sure you post your original response by Wednesday, respond to 2 classmates by Friday, complete your chapter 11 assignment and the chapter 11 quiz by Friday as well. I will be back with the chapter 12 assignments, but as a reminder, week 8 is opening early, Friday to Friday. The week closes on a Friday. And then, you will be able to get back into week 3 this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of week 8 to make up any work from there. All right, I'll be back with your very last assignment video covering chapter 12 assignments.